From Life Beyond Diabetes, and today I am talking about that ubiquitous summer tradition, at least in the US, road tripping. I don't know about you, but I grew up going on road trips with my family every summer, and it's something that I have done for years with my daughter every summer. And this year, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, it's no exception. Although this year is a little bit different because our road trip is actually serving a purpose. I am taking her back to college. So we are leaving in a couple days, and I will be driving my daughter back to college. So I'm getting ready for a road trip. And one of the things that I have noticed, I've heard from a lot of my friends that, they're not taking their typical summer vacations, but they are venturing a little bit away from home as things are opening up and starting to do some road trips. People aren't taking the grand vacations that they have in the past, but they're starting to move around a little bit after being in isolation for so many months to get out of the house. So as you're getting out of the house, I hope that you are able to get out of the house and get away for a little bit of time. There's a few things to think about when you're road tripping, when you have diabetes, considerations that we need to take into account that people without diabetes may not need to think about, even though they're things that generally are pretty healthy and we probably all need to think about. The one thing that everybody doesn't need to think about that we definitely do need to think about is what's going on with our blood sugar. That's the very first and most important thing to think about, because travel can upset your blood sugar. It can either make it go higher because of stress or changes in eating, changes in exercise, just the changes, lifestyle changes that you have when you're traveling. The upheaval for a lot of people can make their blood sugar go up. For a lot of other people, their blood sugar can drop and go much lower than normal because vacation is so relaxing and the stress hormones just kind of go away. So, the most important thing here, though, is that you're keeping track of what happens with your blood sugar. So, in addition to making sure that you're staying in a healthy range, this becomes a safety issue if you're driving and you have low blood sugar. So for anyone who takes insulin or any medications that cause their blood sugar to go low, it is very important to be aware of what your blood sugar is before you start driving and throughout the day if you are driving. So I want you to pay close attention to that. And if anything, if you're going, if you start noticing that you're going low, I want you to run it a little bit higher, because it's very unsafe to be driving when you have low blood sugar. It's like driving drunk. So very, very careful if you have hypoglycemia or tend toward hypoglycemia alcohol. You need to be monitoring your blood sugar to make sure that you're not driving with low blood sugar. So that's the biggest issue for road tripping with diabetes as far as safety goes. Everything else is just standard health advice that everybody should pay attention to. The next thing that I want to talk about is activity. When you're on a road trip, most of the time you're sitting in the car for long periods of time. I know that when my daughter and I drive on next week, when we start driving, our first day is going to be 5 hours in the car. And that's 5 hours of not, just sedentary, just sitting. I don't generally sit for 5 hours straight. That's a long time. So already I know that my plan is that whenever we stop in a rest area, and we stop usually every other rest area along the freeway, even if we don't need to get out, move around, stretch your legs, take a 10-minute walk just around the rest area. It's not very much, but it gets you moving. It kind of loosens things up a little bit, helps you feel better, get some of those steps in, lets your body know that you're active again. So that's one thing about activity. And then when you get to your destination, make sure that you're moving. Try and get in, if you wear a pedometer, try and get up to what your normal number of steps would be on a normal day if you're able to do that. The second thing is food. Road trip food, right? Everybody loves road trip food. I know that I do. We stop at the gas station and we buy all the Cheez-Its and Doritos and soda, all the stuff that really you reserve for road trips. Well, I don't actually buy that stuff, because when I eat it, first of all, my blood sugar looks terrible. I know, that's the benefit of having my continuous glucose monitors. I get the feedback right away. This is not good for my body. But the next day, I just feel terrible. I just feel so gross. My body feels, ugh. It's like, the chemicals that I ate, all that stuff. Not so great. But you do still want to have some good road trip snacks. It's part of road tripping. So a couple things that I recommend. One, if you have a plug-in cooler, bring it along. Stick it in the back of the car. And if you don't have one, it's an investment worth getting. I got mine on Amazon, I think, for about $100. Totally worth it. I love it. Where we live in Washington State, it is peak cherry season right now. I will be bringing along some of the Rainier cherries that we have. I'll be keeping them in the cooler, so they'll be lovely to eat. So I'll be bringing some berries. I might bring along some yogurt and some cheese. Those are great snacks. Now, I probably will also have, one of those little small size bags of potato chips because, road trip, I will be allowing myself a splurge. But for the most part, healthy snacks because I know my body's going to feel better. Some other snacks that I like that are shelf stable. I like moon cheese, which is dehydrated cheese. Now there's many kinds that you can get. So moon cheese is sold at Starbucks. At most Starbucks in the US, you can get moon cheese. But you can also get, there's dehydrated cheese called Wisps. There's Sonoma Creamery does some dehydrated cheese, and they're just great little snack crackers, but they're made of cheese and they're so pretty low carb. I also really love these little Criminelli mini salamis. I order these from Amazon. You can get them at some grocery stores. Starbucks, again, because they're everywhere in the US, Starbucks carries little meat and cheese snack trays that you can also pick up, that you can pop in your cooler if you have a cooler. They make great road trip snacks. So food, be very careful. If you feel like you need a splurge, have a little splurge, but remember what's going to be good for your body, and also not just what's going to be good for your blood sugar, but how you're going to feel after you eat it. Physically, you probably won't feel so great. And then the last thing that I want to talk about right now, that doesn't apply most summers, but it definitely does this summer, is I highly recommend that whenever you are out of your car and around other people, put on your mask. Okay? It is so important right now that we not spread COVID. Okay? Wear your mask. Don't get sick. I want you to stay healthy. Get out there, have a great road trip, and I will see you next Thursday. Now, I'm not sure if I'll be able to be live because I don't know where the road trip's going to take me next week. So, but I will be here next Thursday, either live or recorded, and I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.